We are back here on the mat. Once again, we are sitting here with all the relevant Chicago wrestling promoters right now. We've already ruled out the fact that the Super Corp, as we'll call it for the sake of this conversation, will not work. These men, they will not agree. They will agree to disagree, and that's about it. We're talking about talent swap. And let's actually, here's a topic of my personal favorite, women on the independent scene in the area. And I'm looking at you, Jimmy Blaze, because you have the hottest girls going over in Powell.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm sure they do as well. Currently, there are 2 that are being trained by me. And
nice.
Well, I shouldn't say me. I should say myself, Rough Crossing, Scott Spade, and Chris Cairo and Canoa.
Now, are you going to get, because other than Shimmer, which is an exclusive women's federation, are you going to get like a women's division going, or do you have one going? Like, what's going on?
There is a women's division going. The whole concept of a women's division came from going to a Shimmer show. And from what I remembered of women's wrestling was Glow.
Mm-hmm.
Vic the Farmer's Daughter, or whatever it was.
Hollywood and Vaughn.
Yeah.
Fond memories of those wonderful women.
Matilda the Hun.
Of course. Rick Paradise went to a Shimmer show. And I expected garbage, really. Just wanted to see some hot chicks fall out of their tops.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very impressed by what I saw.
Changed your mind on the whole.
Was Amazing Kong. She walked out, and I looked at Paradise, and I just laughed. I'm like, oh, God, this is going to be good. Mischief walked out next. Never knew these 2, never heard of them. And they put on one hell of a match. After that, I was hooked. I was like, this is cool. I want to see about getting a women's division started. The first student was Melanie Cruz. And Taylor Made had been with me for a while, but she wasn't get in there and be one of the guys. When Melanie Cruz signed her contract, they said, we're beating the crap out of you. She was my ex-girlfriend, so it was very easy to say, I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
There you go.
Del Rey for her first match. Actually, Tracy Brooks. It was Tracy Brooks in a tag match. She liked her, said she needed a lot of work, which we knew. And then I brought Sarah Del Rey in. They did good. And I had Rain come in. And Prazak had called Rain that night to ask how the match was. And she told him, the girl has talent, she's really tall. Everybody says how tall she is.
She's tall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she wears heels. She's like taller than me.
Yes.
If I have to look up to a girl, it's crazy.
What do you
I'm
like?
smitten.
And hot.
Yes. Oh, wow.
So yeah, she went and she did what they asked at Shimmer, and that's something I want
And
to
by
do.
the way, props to Dave Prazak for Shimmer, because I think Shimmer is a great idea. He beat everybody to the punch. It's awesome.
The hope is that with Melanie, and now we're doing Taylor Made, that more girls will join the company, and hopefully Prazak will look at them as well, and it might be a funnel for him. Like you said, props to him.
Yeah. And if there's any lovely young ladies out there that just so happen to be watching this show,
God almighty, please.
get a hold of Mr. Dave Prazak or Jimmy Blaze over at POW.
Or me.
Or Windy City.
Or Tony
BWAA.
Windy City does have a women's division.
Yes.
I can tell you that Prazak will tell you that it's tough to find girls who can go. I mean, that's it's a tough thing to find, because we'll come up with a storyline. And I'll go to Dave. All right, Dave, I need the 2 girls. He goes, good luck. I don't know what to tell you. He goes, because you need, especially if we're going to do a storyline, we need 2 girls who aren't known. You're going into a new storyline. You can't bring out Mischief and Rain and go, hey, look at these 2. Because, fans are just starting to know them, and, you get on TNA, whatever. And there's a guy who runs a women's promotion. He'll go, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. There's no one. That Jimmy's training a girl is amazing to me. Mm-hmm. It really is. And it's great. I mean, I think it's awesome that, we might get some real women wrestlers.
We've got 3 in-house right now. So Windy City women's division's taken off again, and that's an intentional effort to reach out to workers' girlfriends. That's how you got yours, and so we got a couple hours that way. It's just, ladies, you want to wrestle? Promotion's right here, all willing. They got our arms out. We're looking for you.
Please.
But just remember, it's pro wrestling. It's not a beauty pageant. You're going to have to learn the business. It's a hard business. You get your lumps, your bumps, and your bruises, along with all the beauty and the glory. So just remember that.
Oh, no, AAW will take hot chicks. We'll take a few hot chicks.
I didn't say we turn away hot chicks.
Believe me.
I just like them to be able to work.
We will find a place for you in the ring at AAW. Thank you.
And since there's less girls, you see more of the same girls work. Like I've seen Koa everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Remember Koa?
Do Koa still work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's all over the place.
Doing that in the
I think she was
lucha.
a rock girl contestant, wasn't she? For a loop rock
Yeah,
girl? Something
yeah.
like that.
She's
just a few weeks ago.
RX cutie now too.
So
Oh. And she appears on the pages of Playboy. Way to go, Koa.
there you go.
I got her that deal.
Did you?
No.
Oh.
Should have stuck with that story.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
yeah, we
would've
don't
checked
believe
it
you,
out.
Tony. Jeez.
You know what though about the girls though that I find is being that there is such a lack of them, they tend to charge outrageous amounts of money. I've come across quite a few women that have wanted more than, Ring of Honor stars or, it's like, all right, yeah, how much you want? And you're thinking, all right, $50, $60, whatever. Yeah, $250. Excuse me? Like,
Right. Yeah.
let's try this again. How much do you want? $250 plus trans. I'm coming from Minnesota, so that's going to be. It's like, yeah, you're not going to draw me 25 guys.
Don't bring them in.
You're a nobody. Well, yeah, I understand, but it's like trying to get that woman's division somewhere is extremely hard because unless you come out of pocket and come out pretty hefty for some of these ladies, you're not going to get women because they feel, well, we're a hot commodity. We know guys are going to come see us. But some of them don't really have a name out here, and they still want $250, $300. It's like,
Duly noted, ladies. Lower your price tags. Don't be ridiculous.
Word pays to be established because we train in house, so we don't have to pay that price tag. That's part of my.
well, you got
staff.
lucky. You got girls who wanted to be in the business, and
And you got lucky. If you get them in house, you don't have to stay in Minnesota for your $250. I got two girls I just trained myself.
All
I
right.
want to put them in a ring, give them an opportunity.
Okay,
There you
so to define this, who here actually has a training camp going on?
We do.
Powell, Windy City, BWA, PCW. Okay. I just noticed, like, back in the day, I'll refer to this again, when we had a training camp, it was almost like we had a meeting place. It was like a place to, get everybody on the same page, And if all these indie companies are essentially like tribes, and they all have their own mentality, I think it's good to have one of those. But again, you guys have a different style. You guys just bring in people and stuff like that. But how many students would you say, like, on average, like you guys have right now?
Let's see, right now we probably got around 15 to 20 going at this point, plus our already established group of veterans now, such as Machine, Isaiah Velasquez, Jordan Pride.
So they're like
so on and
helping
so
out
forth.
with the training? and stuff?
Right.
P.L., what do you got over in PCW?
Yeah, it's about the same. And, you have, your established guys and then the new guys that come after shows. So, you have like maybe 10 guys training right now. But, it's always a revolving door because, they all see it one way. I remember, you go on the first day of your camp, can't handle it. Like they don't know the rig, and plus it's a respect level too.
Right.
If you're not willing to go in the ring, I mean, that's where my credit was when I first started. I went to go bump around, even as a manager, because I wasn't going to get the respect if you don't go in the ring and try. That's what I did for 3 months down there. But, it's every school's different. Every school's going to teach you things different, and you can always learn.
Mm-hmm. What's going on at Powell? How many students you got?
16 right now.
16. Windy City?
We're carrying an active roster of 50 with probably 25 of that in some sort of a training level.
Really? Okay. Websites. I think they're important. Every company in here has a website. I'm going to obviously assume. Mr. Scarpone, what do you do on your website? Do you do video? Like, what makes it different?
yeah, we just started doing videos. I mean, outside of the average wrestling, I mean, there's really not anything that if you go to ours, it's like, oh my God, like this is just amazing website. We do like recap videos and like our highlight video, but it's got everything the same, the roster page, the title,
Pretty much
history,
everybody
all
across
that.
the board has all that video
Right.
and everything.
We sell tickets online.
Yeah.
Our website does pretty much everything. I mean, after every show, you can go online and watch interviews from all the guys after the show. So it kind of gets, you can pre-sell, we, do pre-sale on front row and stuff like that. And, we get people ordering from all over the place. So it just makes it easier for a fan to buy a ticket, and not have to worry about the day of the show waiting in line to get in and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
It's pretty much got every news line, roster page, the whole thing. I think the websites are going to become more and more and more, if you haven't realized it, important every single day. As everything moves towards the internet, we sell our DVDs on there. We do everything on there that you possibly can because we know it's a resource for all our fans.
Right.
Well, the website is the new TV.
Mm-hmm.
If you miss it at the show, you're not going to see it on 2579, whatever your cable channel is. You're going to see it on the highlight reels. We put out, blocks.
And you can access it at any time. And I assume you guys have like
24-hour access.
training school information.
All the information, school, phone numbers, pertinent stuff, contacts.
And I'm sure even as we're speaking, Nick is throwing out the graphics for all of these websites for the corresponding wrestling fans.
Yeah, we do a lot of the pre-show promos for everything that we're doing is run on video, linked up to our website. We just started with Destiny doing the first time ever actually selling tickets online. We've been doing our videos and our T-shirts that way. We have columns, which I just started back writing up again, so I'm doing some work on that as well.
What about streaming shows? Anyone ever thought of that?
We did it. We tried it.
How'd it work?
It was the Ford show. It's like an online show.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out pretty good. He had quite a few viewers. A lot of people from like California, Philly, stuff like that. He said he got good feedback. I just didn't enjoy it because I know, granted, they're not going to obviously pay and come from California to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like the fact that you give your show away for free, especially when you're trying to sell DVDs. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword kind of thing,
Yeah. Earlier, before we went to break, it almost broke out. We're talking about talent swap, stuff like that, and then there's this mysterious AEW underground something going on. No, yeah.
What's happened a lot. I wouldn't. I mean, what I told Tony is that I let Danny kind of handle all the guys who get booked on a show. It's something that happened, I think, a long time ago. But he was saying with Samurai Del Sol and I.
Charlie Manson.
It wasn't like it's not like a big. I mean, we just you talk about like camps. So we just have my model that I always go by is kind of like the ECW model. What I'm trying to build is if you remember what made ECW great, they weren't great wrestlers. A lot of them, you would say half that roster probably couldn't go. Mm-hmm. But what they were loyal to Heyman to a point where they would go out there and bust their ass every single time they wrestled for him. And the talent swap, the argument, and all that stuff. To me, we've tried to eliminate that by using other guys because we want to be unique. We want to be something separate from everybody else. And if we offer that product every single time, it'll catch on. I mean, there's a million but everybody thought Heyman was this brilliant just storyline guy. But Heyman was brilliant at economics, sociology, demographics. He knew everything about he knew how to turn that crowd on a dime. When Mancow appeared at the ECW pay-per-view at the Odeum, I got to stand in the truck and watch Heyman call shots. Mm-hmm. And it was like watching a guy compose a musical. He knew exactly what he wanted every single time, and every guy gave his everything he had. It didn't matter. Mm-hmm. All the crazy stories you hear about ECW, it didn't matter because once that light went on, those guys put on a show. And that's kind of what our goal is trying to get the best guys in to put on the best show. That's why I think AEW, we give you a unique product that no one else does, and that's my goal. That's my talent swap argument for anybody, is that if I can offer you an audience something that no one else can, then it's my product. It's our. I'm not using someone else's.
And that's understandable. And Jimmy Blaze is doing the same thing you are, and Ripper's doing the same. We're all want the same thing. We all want. When I started UGW, I told Bryce and my buddy James, I said, listen, I want to use guys that aren't around here. I don't want to use the Phoenix Twins. I don't want to use whatever, anybody's guys. That's why I tried going to Iowa and getting guys, and then this big thing starts, and it's like, well, Danny's calling this guy, or this guy's calling that guy, and this guy's going over there, and this guy's going. We all want the same thing. We all want to be unique in our own way, and that's very understandable. But the whole talent swapping thing is, if you don't want people to call your guys, don't call other guys.
Well, I think that like I told you, the thing is a leg up we have on people is we have Dave Prazak, who we do the show. You have Dave Prazak sitting backstage who does the play-by-play. He works for us for Ring of Honor. And a lot of our guys have gone on to do things in Ring of Honor. You have Tyler Black, Shane Hollister, the Phoenix Twins, Silas Young. It's an opportunity. So we get a lot of calls from guys going, if I wrestle there, I'm going to get a shot somewhere. There may be I could go somewhere with it. I'm not, that's the kind of promotion I'm kind of go for. I don't see, Danny and especially lately, we reach out all over the place. California and we're looking other places because we want some guys. It's really tough to find guys to do characters anymore. And I think if you have unique characters and a unique style of doing things, and the building where we run is unique, and you have dollar beers, and it creates an atmosphere. I don't know if anybody used to go to the ECW, been to the ECW arena, but it was like mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane, and that's the kind of feeling I want. That's why I say I don't sell our product to kids. I don't necessarily. I drop F-bombs in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
We do crazy. There's been crazy matches with Jimmy Jacobs putting stuff in people's mouths, and it's a different product. I'm shooting for males. That's
and that
that's
goes
what
back
I'm doing.
to your whole point. That's why there's 6 different opinions because his crowd's different. I saw how ECW was. It's kind of like that thing you can't capture in a bottle. That thing was nuts. Those fans were loyal. It's kind of like the Ring of Honor fans. So when he's trying to reach out, PCW, well, we kind of feel like, all right, let's hook in the kids because it doesn't matter who's wrestling. They just want to go see wrestling, and we try to put on a good product because all our guys are working hard, just like Windy City is, just like Blaze is, just like everyone on this table is going to boast their own product because they're offering something different.
I just think it's weird, and like I understand the differences of opinion because God knows I have a different opinion than on a lot of things, but you're fighting over you're fighting over pieces of pie, but it's all the same pie, kind of, and I just.
But it's a different piece of
He
pie.
gets the cross leg in the middle, and he gets the topping. It
It's
right, the way around,
right.
whatever you
And
want to
the
call
thing-
it.
but it's still in the same-
It's what part of the pie you're going at.
And
Right,
the moment,
right.
you put this
Yeah.
super group together,
Supercorp.
the
Yeah.
moment you put Supercorp together, there's going to be someone to say, you know what, I can do it better than Supercorp.
But
So
who-
the-
Right.
And there's going to be a government bailout.
Who's to say? Who's to say that there's not guys on each and every single one of your rosters right now that are like, you know what? They're not putting me over enough. Me and this guy, we're gonna go form our own Fed. You watch out, because in 5 years there'll be 12 people sitting here, and it might not be some of you guys anymore. It's just weird, the way the business just.
That's
it's
how
so.
most of this
That's
was
how most of
formed.
this got
I know
started.
3 of us.
Exactly.
Yes, that's how it was.
So, to
formed.
have such a streamlined vision for your future and what you want, it can be thrown out the window at a moment's notice for a legitimately more promising deal, I would think.
But I think what I think
Not saying
is
this is Supercorp, but it is
important nowadays is that the letters AAW need to mean something. That's you've got to make those 3 letters whenever we do a show. Yes, I want great guys wrestling. Yes, I want to put on a great show. And when they leave, I want them to remember AAW. I want when something crazy happens, I want them to chant AAW. That's what I want them to chant. Because if AAW matters, then those guys that I've hired are doing their job. They are, and by God, they'll chant AAW. When Tyler flips, dives out of the ring onto a barbed wire board that's Merrick Brave is laying on, and they chant AAW, those guys are getting the product over. That's where when a guy leaves, your product has to be strong enough to say, well, that's okay. We get someone else in here.
Well, okay, rewind the tape and then just put my call letters where he was saying AAW, put his call letters, because we all believe the same thing.
Exactly.
And just
Exactly.
most recently, sorry, but it became Vanguard, but Vanguard took a good chunk of Windy City with it. There was a major upheaval and uprising. A lot of the talent said, we're gone. And Windy City survived because of the core of the people that wanted to stay there. And a lot of them had the offer and said, you want to go with them? There's the door, and it's open. And those that chose to stay, stayed because they wanted to, stayed because they believed in the program that we're running at Windy City. The training methods, how Sam conducts his business. No one will ever accuse Sam DeSero of being a bad businessman.
No.
And what we expect of our people and what we expect of our talent, and even going into the talent swap stuff, we have our levels of rookies and intermediates and pros and stuff, but you can't travel unless you're at least a pro or a veteran to where you've proven that if I'm going to send you a piece of talent, you don't call me back and say, well, where did you train this guy? I'm at least going to, if I'm swapping talent with you, I'm giving you something for it.
Right.
I'm giving you a guy that has my blessing to go out into the world and become a pro wrestler and make $1 at this business, because maybe I'm a little slow right now and you're booked over your head. Hey, can I send you a guy? Or, hey, you got somebody you could send me because I'm starting to get busy.
Right.
That's where sometimes we can work together as far as the talent, but the talent better be worth traveling for. You know, and we had this stuff in place back in the day, and we had a guy that had to leave, and he went out to California. Well, now he's on TNA, and I'm referring to Christopher Daniels. That's a homegrown product. Fallen Angel came from Windy City. He got the base and the drive and the business here. So we can say that, yeah, we sent
So
that
he's a
piece.
product.
So
He's definitely a product.
We sent that piece of talent down the road. So calling up and stealing guys, no, I think it's a bad business decision. It's a bad thing to do. Free trade of guys on a management level is another thing. And just remember, talent talks to talent. So your guy may be whispering to my guy, hey, we got it better over here. Come on over here. Next thing you know, he's disgruntled with whatever we're doing because you're the greener grass. And it's the ego and the pride of all the workers. We're all human. The hardest thing in this business to swallow is your own human humbleness and pride. If you want to work for somebody, you better be willing to swallow some of what you got and run it his way. Like I always said, as promoters, we got the advantage. They're the pieces. It's our game.
Yeah.
Until all those pieces collaborate behind your back. It happens. And then you have like a massive split. And then you have, oh my God.
I just think you have to be confident in that what you're doing is
Right.
Is right.
Right.
I mean, if someone wants to go behind my back, Danny's back, whatever, and go somewhere else.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it sucks. And then, like, you know, it's the whole thing you said, like, you know, you build up the trust and everything, and then, you know, somebody walks out. How does everybody feel individually here about Ring of Honor? Obviously, there's no Ring of Honor representative because they just kind of like blast into town. There's like 1,000 people or what, I don't know what they're doing now around there, but you would hear these impressive gates, and then poof, they're gone. You know, they do their like circuit. When they come into town, is it cool? Like if they take some of your guys, do you guys like? I mean, I know.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I know you guys are like set.
Yeah, I don't.
But how do you feel about that? Because they're drawing crazy numbers. Like, how do they do it? Is it anybody have a formula that they?
Because they're here once every 6 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, remember, it's based on DVD sales. Their company is based on whether it's one person in that building or 1,000 people. It's based on those tape sales. Where they really have dropped the ball was going on that DVD stuff or television now, because now their numbers have been dropping. Their gates have been dropping. Hey, it's a great product. Don't get me wrong.
So then, what about trying to emulate that formula for anybody?
And that's and that PL is just being strictly on a channel that if you don't have a dish, you aren't going to get it.
Yeah. I think that their biggest problem is trying to convert their audience, which was mostly your internet mark kind of audience, and taking that show and kind of translating it to TV. They're two really different things.
Right.
I mean, when you take something that is basically known just for wrestling, which they were known for a very long time. They're very great. Bryan Danielson is one of my favorite wrestlers. I think he should be in WWE. I think he'd be a great character. But to take all of those guys now and try to train them to do TV, it's hard. It's a hard switch.
It's changing essentially the company itself.
Right. Oh, you have to go within, and now you have to retrain.
Breaking worker habits.
Yeah. What you saw from what you and I probably saw, Jim, in the early videos, it's now suddenly become into this big, giant indie fed where they're trying to tell all these stories, just like every one of the rest of us are doing.
The early stuff came in with a reputation too of we have a market, a satellite market. Yeah. And the fans in the area that had this satellite were flocking to the Ring of Honor show. So to go back to your original question, how do you feel about talent sharing? Well, right there, Ring of Honor called Windy City, said we got a spot for 2 guys. We said, here's our 2 best. Give them a match. They're working each other, so it's not that their guys are going over on our guys. We sent them a piece of their show.
Sent them a Windy City match, essentially.
Now, those were the guys that we wanted to represent at that time, that if that satellite pickup got Little Rock, Arkansas called Windy City. Hey, we really liked I think it was Steve Boz and Austin Roberts. We really like those guys. Can you ship them down to us? We got a mega show we're doing. Hey, boys, we just booked you some travel and got you some pay. Here you go.
Nice.
So in that case, talent sharing, because they were an established group that popped in and popped out once every 6 months. They're no threat to my home network. They
Right.
pop in one time.
And it's a
Use
unique
them for
fan
what
base.
they're there.
It's a unique fan
It
base.
was a way to market my guys
Exactly.
through their company because there's no threat.
And I think like from a pride stand, I mean, Danny Daniels trained Tyler Black, and to watch him on TV every week, you know, there's a pride factor, and there's a huge pride factor in that. So I think that Ring of Honor has a different kind of product, and it's you know their biggest hurdle is going to be converting that from just running, you know, and drawing 1,000 people to being on a network. It's a much different thing. A TV show, TV is a different animal than just running a wrestling.
Right.
Right.
Well, I just got the tornado again from Nicholas H., and we're out of time for this edition, but stay tuned because next week we'll have part 2 of the roundtable discussion with the Chicago Independent Wrestling Promoters right here on the Mat. Thanks for tuning in.